Let me introduce myself. We got a lot of new people here. Marcelo, thanks for joining us. Here's the deal. My name is DJ Valori. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've set up successful businesses in the past. I currently run and operate a multi-million-dollar digital marketing agency. So I'm not selling any books here. I'm not selling any webinar access or anything like that. I'm only here trying to help you, okay? And to share with you stories and lessons that I've been through as I've grown my businesses. As I said, we're a multi-million-dollar company, so I'm giving advice from stuff that I've learned over the years that might be able to help you. So that's a brief intro. Thanks for joining, Jay Tibbs. Brief intro as to what we're doing here today. So on today's episode, what I want to talk about is what do I do once I have an idea for a new business, right? What are the steps you need to take? Well, obviously the first thing is you want to get on the internet and do your research and make sure that your business doesn't have too much competition, or your idea doesn't have too much competition. But I'm assuming you've done that already, or else you wouldn't have started, right? So you think it's a good idea to benefit from your product and service. So here's what I do. The first thing is you come up with a business name. That's tip number one, and I'm going to give you 5 tips here, okay? You come up with a business name. Now remember, the business name does not need to be the product or service name, right? It could be Tony Johnson as your business name, Enterprises. That's right, Stack Wonder. Business name first. Don't always name the business after the product or service, because then you're limiting yourself. So let's say your idea is a widget of some sort. You don't want to name it ABC Widget, but rather name it Thomas Jones Enterprises or something like that. So that'll give you the flexibility to launch other products and services within that business that you're setting up, right? So the first thing you do is, come up with a business name, search around the internet, and see if there are other businesses out there with that same name. If they're not, that's great. Tip number 1, you've achieved that, okay? You can be as creative as you want. I've seen some business names really off the wall, especially in real estate deals. They'll just come up with, 123 Main Street Partnership, LLC, or something like that. So it doesn't really matter what the business is called at this point. It's really the first step in protecting your idea and your new product and service as you go to market and become public with it, right? Okay, so tip number 2, once you have your business name, you need to go down to your local county clerk's office. Okay, again, these are all tips, things that I do when I come up with a new business or opportunity product that I want to launch. You go down to your local county clerk's office and register that name so that it becomes public record. City Hall, there you go. It becomes public record and is entered into the books, right? So now you're starting to legitimize your business opportunity. The next thing you want to do is, once you've set that up, and that will only cost a few dollars, it's not very expensive, you then have the ability, with that certificate from the town that you're officially naming your business, to go open a bank account, right? You will need that if you're going to sell things and people are going to pay you, right? They can't write a check out to you personally because it's got to go to your business. So now that with your certificate in hand from City Hall or the clerk's office that says you are the owner of this particular business, you go to your local bank and you open up a checking account using that particular business certificate. So now you have a business checking account, right? And that will get you started and underway. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to start to set up a web presence, right? So what I like to do is, and I would have thought about this, as you're going through the other steps, is come up with a domain name that is short as possible, because you want it as short as possible so people can memorize it and remember how to get to it and so forth, as short as possible. And then you want to set up a web page eventually, but first grab the domain name and then make sure it's a .com. Some people are doing .biz out there, but .com is still the best, even though there's so many different extensions out there, .biz, .net, .org, etc. Go for the .com. So get the shortest one you can get, and at that point, you've now secured you've registered your business with the clerk's office, you've opened up an account, you've checked to make sure that from a competitive standpoint, that there aren't too many people, with the same name in the same business, so you don't have conflict of interest. And now you have a domain name. So what you're doing is you're establishing a precedence as to when your business was formed, right? the first steps. And you don't have to launch your website right away, and we'll talk about how you do that. And someone mentioned here WordPress, which is always a good option to launch a site. But you can get sites designed pretty inexpensively, and I will share with you in future episodes how to do that. Oh, thanks for the awesome scope. I appreciate it. If you enjoy the scope, please follow me on Periscope. I do these, let me just reset for those who are new. I'm a successful entrepreneur. No bullshit here. I'm telling you stories. I'm a storyteller as to what I've achieved and things I've learned and problems I've had over the last 15, 20 years with different companies and businesses that I've created. What makes me worthy to listen to? Well, I'm currently running and operating a business that I founded 12, 13 years ago, which is a multinational business and a multi-million-dollar business. So I can say I'm a success, right? From that standpoint. I've had a lot of failures, but this one's been a home run. A lot of work, and we talk about passion and fire in the belly in other episodes. But thanks for finding my scope interesting. So I'm not here selling any books. There are a lot of people out there on Periscope that are selling books. They say they're experts of this and experts at that, but they really have no experience, right? So I'm not selling any books. I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving you my time. I do these Periscopes 3-4 times a week. I do them usually in my car because it's, I can get out of the office. No one can reach me here. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and it works that way, and it's quiet. So in this week's episode, I'm talking about how to start your business once you have an idea or a concept. What kind of car do I drive? Well, I'll let you try to guess that. Can you tell by the seats and the... Okay. It's a nice car, put it to you that way. I don't want to come off as arrogant or presumptuous here and show off my assets, but when you're a business owner and you're successful, you've earned it, right? All right, that's right. Rosella says I earned it, so here you go. There you go. That's all you need to know. You know what that means, right? Okay. I don't like doing that too much. All right, good answer. All right, so let's continue now with the final tip. The final tip on how to get started, right? The final tip is once you've gotten all the other stuff that we talked about, and I'll recap in a minute, completed, now you need to get yourself protected from anybody that is going to potentially try to sue you or harm you in the future. And there are a lot of crazy people out there. That's right, you work hard, you enjoy some benefits. That's right, Rosella. So you want to protect that asset, your company that you're just starting, right? So what you do is you form an LLC. In the US, it's a limited liability company. I think that's the best because it allows you to act as a sole proprietor from a tax perspective, but it also, LLC, limited liability company, but it also gives you the same protections, legal protections that a corporation has. So let's say, someone comes after you for copyright infringement or something like that. And, we'll talk about getting insurance and all that stuff once you get your business off the ground. But as a startup, you want to at least have a proper protection. That's right, it's very important, Rosella. Having an LLC protects you that way. So those are the tips. Let me just recap if you missed the beginning. How to get started with your business idea and concept. This is what I do as an entrepreneur and what I do for every business idea that I have is basically to do your research, obviously, on the web, right? You want to do that and make sure that you've done enough research to know what your competitors are doing out there. And let me give you another tip, too, that I've learned the hard way. If you don't find any competition for your product or your service, don't get too excited. Now, let me say that again because that's really important. If you don't find competition for your product or service, don't get too excited about it. Let me tell you why. The reason you don't get too excited about it is because it may not be a good idea. Maybe it's been done or maybe it's never been done because there's really no business opportunity to it. There's no way to make money at it. So competition is not necessarily bad because it allows you to basically know and kind of validate your business opportunity that it makes sense, right? So competition is not bad. So hopefully there's a little bit of competition in your marketplace for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to introduce. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're, let me just move the camera over a little bit. So keep that in mind when you're setting up your business and your product. Look for competitors, and that'll tell you that there's a market there for what you're doing. Also, you don't want to be the first to educate the marketplace, right? It's very expensive to do that. So while everybody's got great ideas, it's all about execution, right? We know that. So if there's no competition for what you're offering, and let's say it is a great idea, never been thought of, which is highly unlikely, you're still going to need to educate the marketplace. That will cost you so much money, you'll be burnt out before you even start, right? So take to the web, get your business name sorted out, go to the town office, the county clerk, the city hall, whatever you have in your town, register your name so that it's taken. Here's a question here. How about a business, mobile business such as an app development? Do you still need an LLC? Absolutely. Anything where you're going to sell your product and service, especially in software, because people can claim copyright infringement, intellectual property infringement. You stole the code, you saw it somewhere else, copied and came up with it on protected code. So you definitely want to get an LLC set up. No matter what you do, if you're going public, get an LLC, because if some crazy guy out there that has more money than you decides to sue you, you're going to lose everything you have, including your home, your assets, your personal accounts. You don't want that to happen, right? So always protect yourself with an LLC. So once you've registered your name, okay, go back and open up a checking account, a business account. So again, you're keeping your money separate from your personal account. Now here's the cool thing. As you're building up your business, right, and you're incurring expenses, you can write those expenses off at the end of the year when you do your tax filings, right? So it's going to save you some money there. Now you can do that for a few years, but you can't do it forever. At some point the government's going to want you to either make money or shut down what you're doing, because then you're just using it to write off some losses. So you then want to get a domain name, right, and set that up and register it with your business name, not your personal name. Again, everything you do has got to be with the business. And then here's the tip, the last tip that's really, really important. Form an LLC, a limited liability company. Now, in the U.S., and where are you guys from, by the way? Why don't you hit me up and let me know where you're from. But in the U.S., company that you can do this with that advertises all the time that's really inexpensive is LegalZoom, right? LegalZoom.com, I believe. They do all the filings, the paperwork for you. It costs you maybe a couple of $100 to get set up. Hey, I'm Genuine. Thanks for joining us. So LegalZoom will set you up so that you're legally all set up. You have all the proper tax forms for the government, etc., and you can use those numbers, like a tax ID number, on your tax returns every year. So again, just to recap, my name is DJ Valori. Please follow me on Periscope if you don't already. Share it with your friends. Hit the little people icon there in the bottom right and share it with your friends if you'd like. I do these Periscopes throughout the week whenever I have 10-15 minutes, because I'd like to just share my story with everybody. I do run a multi-million-dollar company, so I can't at this point. Hey, Bertelsmann, thanks for invited 100 people. Wow, nice. I love that. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that, inviting people to the Periscope. Great stream. Thank you very much for that. Bert, you're in California. Oh, that's cool. Where in California are you at? I bet you were having some great weather that beats your weather unless you're in San Diego, of course. Always great weather there. But anybody have any questions before I sign off on this Periscope on setting up your business and getting started? Again, everything I described are really the basics of Canyon Lake. Okay, I'm not familiar where that is. Is that near San Francisco or South California? Everything I've talked about here in this scope are really the basic things. Once you get started and you really, either have, and thanks for inviting people, can I work with you on future projects? Well, maybe, hit me up with a direct message. You can follow me on Twitter. You can DM me there. I'm just at DJ Valori, DJ Vallauri, Southern California. Love it. So you're probably having great weather like we are. Once you get started with your business and you've got investors maybe, or you're putting some real money into it, get yourself an accountant and some legal advice as well to make sure. Okay, so it's really important that you do the steps that I mentioned today just to get started, get yourself formalized in the business. But then we'll talk about. Sounds good. You're from Springfield, New Jersey. Okay, not far from us. I'm in Parsippany, New Jersey. So it's important you do those steps. Okay. Don John, thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the hearts, everybody. I appreciate it. I'm going to sign off now. I got things to do. It's Saturday. I got some errands to run, and then I'm traveling a little bit. I'll be touching base. I'm in Miami Beach on Monday, so I'll be doing some scoping from the beach. That'll be pretty cool scenery. So thanks for joining. Have a great weekend, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the scope, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.